Here we have the 4-hour price chart for NIO Incorporated, stock ticker NIO. Here we can see a bit of a two-way sideways price action a bit here. We can kind of drill into the chart a little bit to see what's currently happening. As we know, there is a fairly major sell-off that's going on in the market at this point. This is particularly focused on the technology space. The semiconductor stocks are in major trouble for the most part. There's been a lot of downside trading activity, a lot of downside selling pressure, many support zones that have been broken. If people are interested in kind of the broader market view, I would suggest people take a look at my video on NVIDIA as well as Meta platforms. There are some fairly significant moves that are going on there. And I do feel like this is kind of making things a bit uncertain. And I think that people are somewhat maybe reluctant to start getting into new positions and waiting for the dust to settle. So we are seeing a bit of two-way activity here. Some people were asking me what I think about the recent red candles. Um, there is some concern here, but overall, we have to kind of remember what's going on in the broader market, and the fact that there are some very major sell-offs going on. And when we compare this stock, its prior highs just below $5. These highs would have come in at roughly 492. And then we're seeing declines to about 455. So, we're not even really talking about 40 cents in share price declines. And you can compare that. I do suggest people watch the video on Meta platforms because you should take a look at that chart. I mean, if you want to see some massive declines, that house is burning down. That stock is falling off of a cliff. I don't know which metaphor to use here, but it's in major trouble. Um, and we're not really seeing that same type of activity here. So this does kind of fall in line with what I believe to be true with this stock, which is that we're continuing to form a base here. Overall, the longer term declines have been extreme. People that are not familiar with the stock, we can just kind of take a step back here, and look at some of the prior price levels that have been seen. Even just going back to, August of last year. I mean, this is not even a full year, and we're trading well above the $16 level. So, and we could continue, I mean, the prices just continue going up if we go farther back. So, this stock has seen major declines here. I just have a very hard time believing that we're in store for much more downside. There are some very loyal share price holders here that have been, showing some true diamond hands. People like to use that phrase about GameStop and things like that. But there are some people that are holding this stock that have been even more loyal, I think, to the share price and to the stock. Overall, it's just very hard for me to believe that there is much more downside here. If we continue to look at the overall trend here, I mean, I'm being asked about these specific red candles. I'm not very concerned about it because, the sell-offs in the market have been broad. And I think we've already kind of damaged this descending triangle pattern. And then in addition to that, we're still seeing mostly higher highs and higher lows here on a shorter term basis. Like we're kind of using a 2-hour chart. Sorry, this is a 4-hour chart. Um, but we can see here that, the trajectory is mostly still upward, even though the broader market is really collapsing in many ways. I mean, these are major, the Mag 7 companies are really falling through the floor at this point. That is a huge amount of money. I mean, it takes a lot of money to push around NVIDIA stock. It takes a lot of money to push around Meta platforms and Apple. These are major companies. So this is a large amount of money, that's contributing to the sell-off. And we're just not seeing that type of activity here. Overall, we haven't even really broken the prior lows. I mean, if we're going to talk about these specific red candles here, the low from the Monday trading session came in at 453. And then the low from the Wednesday trading session, July 17, came in at 455. So, I mean, we're close here, but, we're seeing this, I would view this as stabilization more than anything else. We've almost got a bit of a sideways trading range here, that's starting to develop. If we were to look at the shorter term time frames, 5-minute chart or something like that, this would look much more like a sideways trading range, than a true reversal in share prices. The general trajectory here is still positive. And then if the question I would be asking is what would be happening here if the broader market wasn't selling off? I think that we would have a more decisive break higher here, a bit more follow through after this descending triangle is broken. So, currently, if we're looking at the indicator readings, I mean, this is the way that we look at momentum in the market, and we can see that the momentum, the downside bearish momentum, which was sort of creating this descending triangle pattern, has completed itself. I mean, we have broken through that area. I leave it on the chart so that we can kind of see where we've been. Um, I could remove this line from the chart, but I think it's more useful to kind of to understand that this price pattern has broken, and we are trying to sort of stabilize here and continue to move to the top side. I would be a bit more concerned perhaps if we failed at this moving average. Um, but I also don't. I also find that to be a bit unlikely because we're not seeing any other technical indicators that are falling in this region. So, the underlying momentum at this point does remain positive, as we can see in the relative strength index. That's the purple line down here. We can see that the underlying trend movement continues to be positive. It's not strongly positive, but it is moving in the upward direction. And when you're dealing with a prior downtrend that's this massive, you have to imagine like turning around a battleship. Like it doesn't happen quickly. It kind of turns around, has to turn around kind of slowly. And I would suggest that this is a similar type of event here. I mean, you've got your battleship is moving in one direction here, and now what we're trying to do is kind of turn around the battleship so it can move in the other direction. I don't think it's a quick process. We have to kind of look for sort of micro indications here that this is what is actually happening. And I do still find this to be the case. I mean, of course, we would like to see a bit more upside buying momentum here. Um, but the fact that negative trends have completed themselves and become invalidated, while the longer term bullish trend remains positive, I do find that to be more encouraging than the fact that it's not a massive upward surge in bullish momentum, if that makes any sense. So we're continuing to trend higher here. This is kind of going in the face of what the broader market is showing. The broader market is mostly selling off, and the technology space in particular it really has had some tremendous difficulty in recovering its gains. And as I said before, these are the Mag 7 stocks. These are the biggest companies in the world. So I think that it would be a bit strange to expect a massive spike here, given the broader context. I do think that we have to kind of expect things to be a bit slow, here going forward. And as long as things remain stable, I do think that the outlook here does remain positive. So here's the current market analysis for NIO Incorporated, stock ticker NIO.